Yo, it's your boy Mark Malloy, and just want to talk to you about why I think, why I listen to the old school guys, the old nut jobs, the guys from like the 70s and 80s in distance running, because the thing is, the standard in Ireland was much higher back then. I mean, people nowadays are just like slaves to the corporations. They're spending lots of money on, heart rate monitors, GPS watches, and personally, I feel like it's unnecessary. I mean, if you look at the guys from in Ireland from the 70s and the 80s, they were much better than the top guys now, and they didn't grow up wearing heart rate monitors, GPS watches. No, so why do we need to use them? To me, that just doesn't make sense. Personally, in my experience, if you're out running, if you can run without looking at a watch, without checking your heart rate, it's actually a lot more enjoyable. Alright? And I think that should be number one, because you want to keep people in the sport, because I find that people nowadays are just too serious. They're all oh, I want to lose this amount of calories, I want to lose this amount of weight, I want to tone up and stuff, and they're all into it for the rewards, but they're not in it for the enjoyment of actual running. I mean, I was reading up a book called Born to Run, and this guy, the narrator, he kind of went off topic for a little while, and he's talking about why the US runners in the 70s were so successful, and he said it's because they didn't expect to get anything out of it. Do you know what I mean? Nowadays it's the opposite. Everybody wants something out of it, whether it's in the competition, improving your times, getting a certain place, being selected for Ireland or Britain or Germany or whatever nation you're from, Australia. We all want something, but we're not doing it just for the love of it like we used to. And I think that's holding us back. And also group training. I don't think there's enough of that in Ireland, maybe in other countries too. There's too much individual solo running. I think that's a sign of the times. We live in a very individualistic society, and Ireland and other countries would have been more close knit back in the day. And I think it's money. All right, people who have so much money don't have to rely on others. They don't have to depend on a community, and that's why they don't bother. That's why in places like where I live, you don't know your next door neighbours. Who are they? What's the name of those people? I don't know. She's you walk past your neighbours, they won't even look at you. Do you know what I mean? If they do look at you, it's they give you kind of dirty looks, and it's just really weird. It's why is that? Is it because I'm not wearing the latest clothing or something? And yeah, so group training. Yeah, I think Jerry Kiernan said that. He was one of the top marathon runners. I wasn't up there with Tracy or anything, but not I don't know what time he ran actually. I think it was 2:12 or something for the marathon. And yeah, nowadays it's just all so individualized. I mean, in my club you get fairly decent turnout on Saturday, Sunday. You normally have some people train with Wednesday session as well. But the Tuesday and the Thursday session is run I should say, is ridiculous. There's no one my age shows up. The oldest people who show up to train would be 14 or 15, unless some of the older, unless some of the coaches decide to join in with some of the younger runners, the kids, and that's the way it is. That's why I have to run on my own. A lot of people run because they like to work out on their own. For me, that wasn't really the case. I ran because that was what I was best at. I was into football. I tried to make the football teams. I couldn't do it. In my club, I was left on the sidelines. In my school, I didn't even make the squad. And my parents kept telling me to focus on other sports, but I was stubborn. I really wanted to be a footballer. And but then eventually I started running, and I actually started running to improve my fitness for football. But I quickly forgot about that and started just focusing on running. And so yeah, I do like to work out with other people, but running is sort of where my talents lay, if you know what I mean. And that's just the way it is. And there's a guy who lives near me. He lives in Dean's Grange, so he's probably just over a mile from where I live. And I try to organise to meet up with him for some training, because the thing is, the guys in my club, they're what's that? They live ages away from where I live. I mean, I live 6 miles from where my club train, So you know, I thought it'd be more convenient if I just met up with that guy who lived locally to me, and like we'd organise to meet up and run on Facebook, and he wouldn't show up. Like a lot of the time, like he'd probably show up maybe a quarter of the time, the quarter of the sessions or training that we organised, and I got fed up and I just stopped. And you know, kind of irritates me why everybody's so obsessed with just running on their own. Like, I mean, yeah. Personally, and okay, one thing that I'm guilty of is if I feel the group are running too slow for me, I won't run with them. All right, because I don't respond well to slow mileage. I'm like a 15-25 km runner. I like to do my easy runs at like, well, I don't tend to check the pace, but I'd say I normally do about 6:30 miles. The guys in my club do like 7:30. I think that's too slow. So yeah, if I responded well to slow mileage like they did, I'd run with them. So you know, that's another thing to take into consideration. Like, you know, you have to, if you want to train as a group, you do need to sort of train in a way that suits everyone. You need to be training with guys around your standard. You need to kind of come to an agreement. What's that? I don't know. Of what you're gonna do. But yeah, I think should be more group training. Like, just look at Kenya. I mean, have you seen some of the photos of the Kenyan runners? There's like a group of 100 more of them out running. Like, you would not get that in Ireland. In Ireland, you see someone running, they're normally on their own.